You know what makes me pretty damn angry when it comes to Flak in Borderlands 3? It's the fact that he was marketed as the sniper character, and 99% of people that made builds for him never use a sniper rifle. So that's what I decided to do. Before going into Borderlands 4, I could not leave my boy Flak, the dude that literally built my channel off of the Flak builds I made for him. I made a sniper build that literally does everything. Yes, it's ammo efficient. No, we're not using any bugs or glitches. We're not doing any of that nonsense. Guardian rank is off for all the clips you see in this video. All my builds, I don't turn on Guardian rank, because if the build's only good with Guardian rank, it's not really a build. You're just kind of lying. Anyway, moving on to this build. Why are we using the Skull Masher? The Skull Masher mainly being the first thing that we're going to go over. This sniper is basically a shotgun. I did have to learn a new statistic when making this build and throwing my phone at the floor out of anger, is damage per bullet. Damage per bullet. DPB. Which sniper in Borderlands 3 has the best damage per bullet? In my testing, it is the Skull Masher. Hands down. I could be very much cheesing this and putting on a complex route and just AoEing the map. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I wanted to do it at some point, but I wanted a nice feeling sniper build for the people that actually want to use snipers and want to take on that playstyle but not hinder themselves when it comes to endgame content. True takedowns, you know, doing sear and being ammo efficient enough to do that entire boss fight with just a Skull Masher is absolutely insane. Any other sniper like a Lyuda, you're getting nice damage burst potential, but you're not getting the actual damage needed to maintain a long tanky fight. Yes, there is moments where you're kind of just waiting out your fade away, and sure, you could be using another build like rack stab or something and two-tapping everything, but hey, I play the game to have fun in the way I want to play it. If you want to go use those builds, go use those builds. But let's go over into my inventory right here. We're going to go over the snipers I'm personally using. Skull Masher, of course, with the fadeaways active, 150% weapon damage. Why are we using this? Well, the reason we're not doing next two mags is because I want to lay the pipe into some enemies and stand still and just shoot them with the Skull Masher so we can get the bonus benefits from not moving in the green tree, the skill turn tail and run. We just get 25% extra damage. That's part of the reason. The other part of the reason is it does more damage than next two mags because it's 150% raw weapon damage, and we're already getting our elemental bonuses when it comes to the Revolter, giving us the shock damage, obviously, but that's not the only option. We do have the Infernal Wish, and the reason I like the Infernal Wish is because it adds a second projectile to whatever weapon you're using. If you're using the Skull Masher, those 5 pellets turn into 6 pellets. If you're using the Sandhawk, 7 turns into 8. But where it's more beneficial is when you use something like the Wedding Invitation. It's only level 65, I'm just using this as an example, shut up. Or if you use an Unseen Threat, it will double the projectiles, or Ion Cannon, Hedgehog, things like that, where it's actually more noticeable. 2 Hive projectiles, all that fun stuff. Based on your playstyle and what you're doing, you can choose one or the other, but 92% of the time in this game, the Revolter is going to be the way to go. Kind of like the Beast Shield in Borderlands 2. Similar situation, similar outcomes. Going to the grenades, we do have a few options. Our Hunter Seeker, that is going to give us on-action skill and corrosive. This, I have debated on changing to on-action skill active, do more damage with your guns, but I'm going to keep it real. Since we do have the fadeaway active on the sniper itself that we're mainly going to be using, it's nice to still have some damage after the fact and not feel like I'm completely useless, and it does help greatly. Over to the Relic, this will be the most controversial one because it depends on what you're doing, and it depends on the type of player you are. I'm going to give you 3 options here. Number 1 is Toboggan. Why the Toboggan? Because I want that extra amp damage every time I slide, making the single target damage a whole lot better. And if you get into the groove of slide shooting, I did mention this in my previous Ultimate Flak build. If you're looking for those builds that just demolish everything, there will be a link in the description down below or in the top right about now. For this build specifically, it is very nice. And this rolled with assault rifle damage. It could have rolled with sniper damage. I could have save edited it and, you know, made it better, but I'm just going to simply use this relic because it works and it makes sense and it's realistic for anyone to obtain if you cannot download my save files. If you're going to use this, get into the habit of doing this. Slide, shoot, slide, shoot, slide, shoot. Sliding before you shoot. It should become muscle memory if you're going to be using that relic. If you don't want to use muscle memory and you want to use this like it's a shotgun and barrel stuff people because you cannot aim for shit, then use the Pearl of Inevitable, not the Pearl of Ineffable knowledge. I can't fucking talk. This will give us a 90% bonus damage increase by every time we shoot, and it'll just keep stacking and stacking. Honestly, it's nice if you want to use this on certain bosses like Seer or even Grave Ward. And then the final one, which I don't have one, unfortunately, is the Company Man. Why the Company Man? Well, the company man will give you bonus damage, crit damage, and reload speed towards a certain weapon manufacturer, and if you have one for Jacobs, and you're using the Skullmasher mainly, which you should be, that will be very, very beneficial. I just hate Borderlands 3's movement to the point where I feel like I have bricks weighing down my ankles if I'm not using a toboggan or snowdrift, so I have to use one of these or my ADHD will make me just move around in my chair. But that's me personally. Going to the class mods, of course, we got to use the Bounty Hunter because with 92% of Flak builds, Bounty Hunter, Hunter Seeker is going to be your main combo. Mainly because throwing Hunter Seeker grenades, the bullets will actually proc your hunt kill skills on the Bounty Hunter comm because they will count as critical hits since we are spec'd in a certain way over into the skill tree. But with the Bounty Hunter comm, we have shotgun damage, could be sniper damage if it was better. Weapon reload speed, which is nice for overall damage increases because the less time you're spending reloading is the more time you're spending shooting. And then 64% Jacobs weapon critical damage. And guess what manufacturer the Skullmasher is? You got it. Good job, Jacobs. Other things to note, we do have the Sandhawk for a little bit of burst potential. We do have the Guardian Angel for when you're fighting Hemovorus or if you're on the Guardian takedown or Maliwan takedown. And realistically, you're not going to be sniping everything there. I mean, if you want to, you can. But we all know with Flak doing push-ups, you might just want to put on a hive, switch to the Unforgiven and sit invisible and wait for everything to die. So that will be in the save file. And it's what I recommend you do when it comes to group AoE clearing. Do that as normal. I mean, you can kind of do it with the Skullmasher with the ricochets, but it's not going to be as effective. And admittedly, you're kind of just hindering yourself when you could just be using the hive over here. And what kind of Flak build would it be if we weren't using the res pistol? This will just allow you to revive your pet. Ignore that 30-second cooldown. That does not apply to your pet in my experience because I've revived them like 3 times in a row while trying to wait for them to res me because I died to a barrel. Very, very good and needed on any Flak build. Over to the skill tree, the green tree. I'm not going to go over every single build. Come on, this game's been out 5 years. Get with the program. But some key things to note. I do like Hidden Machine because it just gives us damage, and so does Turntail and Run for doing what we do best, which is sitting still invisible while this little spider ant fucker tanks everything. We are going to be using Gorillas in the Mist so we could stay in there as long as possible to get the most out of our anointment, and then the bonus critical hit damage on every 3rd hit, which is going to be really nice. For the purple tree, we literally just got the Power Crept reload speed perk and 1 point into Better Toys because I didn't know where else to put it after specking everywhere else, giving us a little bit better survivability with the shield recharge rate and delay. Over to the blue tree, we got the generic He Bites Frenzy combo. If you don't know what that is He Bites makes it so whenever your pet takes damage, whatever attack them will take damage back, and that actually procs the Frenzy buff, which will give you a raw damage benefit, and at max stacks, that gives us 40% bonus damage. Persistence Hunter is something that you're going to generally see spec'd into when going to the blue tree, but the reason it's so important here is because once again, that action skill duration may seem kind of stupid, but when we're using Gorillas in the Mist, every second counts because that's every second we get bonus damage. And it's also worth putting 1 point into Psycho Head on a stick because it makes the pet just move faster and the AI is a little bit less stupid, but it's still pretty stupid. And then finally, the bread and butter of every Flak build, the generic Hunter skill tree. Some things to note, we do need Leave No Trace. You need to spec into this because we are going to be proccing the Hunter Seeker grenades with the Bounty Hunter class mod. Two-Fang isn't needed, but it does help damage occasionally. If you don't want it here, you could easily put it into Grim Harvest for the extra gun damage. It's only 6%, but I mean, it's really up to you. I prefer an extra pellet occasionally. And something to note that I want to make very, very noted on this build, Megavore is the capstone for Flak, where regardless of where you hit an enemy, there's a 20% chance it will count as a crit, but that is not a true crit. And I'm going to quickly explain this. I already told you about the Guardian rank and all that, but I'm going to quickly explain this. That is not a true critical hit. And what do I mean by that? If you're fighting someone like Psycho Reaver and you're just in fade away laying into their body and you see critical hits popping up, those are not true critical hits. And you may be wondering, Term, where's all my damage? Well, you're not hitting him in the head, stupid. So when I shoot here, I get 1 million crit, sometimes a 2 million crit, depending what it is. But if I shoot him in the actual head, I'm getting 4 million crits. All right. It's not a true critical hit unless you're actually hitting that enemy in its coded weak spot. If that enemy does not have a coded weak spot where it has like inherent more critical hit damage, it's not going to hit for the same. So as we can see here, crit for 2 mil, crit for 5 mil, crit for 1 mil, crit for 6 mil. It's going to be like that with every single boss and enemy in the game when you're using a build like this. And it's going to be 10 times more important when you're using a sniper build. Because guess what? If we're not hitting critical hits, we're not killing shit. So, a little good thing to note. See these headshots? Get used to doing it. Going into our gear, let me just double check, make sure my my Pearl of Knowledge is not on. So, as we can see here, we hit for 6. We're going to slide with our Relic. We hit for 10, right? We hit for 11. And you are effectively doubling your damage every time you slide. And obviously, we could take this up a notch. Let me get some hunt kill skills activated. Go into fade away. 40 mil. And that's just from the Revolter proc. We'll slide again. 27 mil. Right? All this damage. 17 mil. Look at all this damage coming from simply hitting headshots in the head. Comparatively to something like the Sandhawk, hits for 3, and we're consuming 3 bullets per shot here. 3 bullets per shot, when we could use a Skull Masher, 1 bullet per shot, and do more damage. Is the Sandhawk easier to use? Yes. Are other snipers easier to use? Yes. But when you are using the Skull Masher, your precision matters, because as you can see, you get rewarded as such for doing so. And that is the core of this build. You get rewarded for hitting crits, and this is what the build would pertain to. There's not really much more I could explain to you with this build. Put on the nice sniper, go pop some heads, quick scope some people, pretend it's Modern Warfare 3 and you're 1v1ing your buddy on Rust. That's just how this build is. It's really chill, it's really laid back, it's fun. It makes you feel like you're playing a sniper assassin character like Flak was intended to. And I just want to make this little fun build before Borderlands 4 because I'm probably never going to be launching Borderlands 3 again. I am a certified Borderlands 2 dick rider, and I do not foresee myself launching Borderlands 3 for any reason, unless it's to make maybe a build video in the future. I really don't know. But save file for your PC players will be in the link in the description down below. And if you want to check out my other Borderlands content, I just made a pretty cool pre-sequel video with the homie Thick Fillet. You should go click on that after this. I agree. And make sure to stick around for my Borderlands 4 stuff. I'll play a little bit of that game. I'm gonna dedicate my whole life to that game. You'll see me eventually. But make sure to leave a like and subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys later.